It's he's a smart, brilliant man, and love to see more of his work. It's what about the false flags? I filmed the first Homeland Security meeting in Albuquerque when they just rolled FEMA into Homeland Security along with the Border Patrol and all that. And Colonel John Brinkerhoff was lecturing law enforcement in Sandia Labs. He said in case of a single outbreak of smallpox in a major metropolitan area, or a atomic attack, or a earthquake of significant magnitude like along the New Madrid fault line, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people. And he's asked, are you talking about the National Guard? No, they're going to be busy. They're going to be in Iraq or Afghanistan or Iran or someplace like that. No, we need a cheap source of well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops. Now, Homeland Security has evolved to the point that they got a billion rounds of hollow point ammo. They're arming the customs and other agents, IRS. They're arming them. What are they preparing for here? Are they preparing for a Ukraine-style confrontation here in the United States? Are they setting us up for a atomic attack on Washington or something, so they could do this whole Jericho thing? I don't know if you remember, if you ever got to see that television series about an atomic attack on the United States when they set up Jericho in the town of Jericho, how they were trying to cope with that. And Texas was the good guy in that film. That was the refuge that they ran to. What are they trying to set up here? What you've been in special ops, you've been in the black ops. What are they trying to set us up for?
Well, if there were an American Spring, they would have to control that. I mean, it's that simple. When I was in a meeting in Jupiter Island, we talked about what if there was an American rebellion? What would we do? And what Bush said, well, we just call out our troops. And I told him, I said, you know, there's no way in the world that American soldiers at this time would ever take up arms against the people of the United States. And I was speaking as an American soldier. We just wouldn't do it. And he said, well, then what we're going to do is we're going to train our boys to become policemen so that they understand that. And so we've effectively been able to train our special forces, our combat and off-combat arms, military, to go overseas and become policemen. Look at what they've done over there. They're nothing more than roving policemen, getting shot at, getting blown up, but roving policemen. So they're accustomed to doing that. That being said, they also have in New York and they have offices of foreign militaries. Now, what's an office of the Chilean military is here with a large office. We do training with the Chileans, with Colombians, with other military forces. We actually do training on how we go about doing things, on our operational plans and everything else. I have to say that there are plans for Homeland Security to take care of business. Look, you see the Homeland Security, the FEMA, their cars. What do their cars say? Federal Police.
Yes.
That's the darndest, you know. So I believe that they're there to help control things if they get out of hand here in the United States.
Well, that's what the fusion centers are, and the fusion centers were created from Senate Bill, I believe it was 1959, on homegrown terrorists. tried to make people like me into a homegrown terrorist, and of course, the whole Homeland Security assessment tried to demonize the veterans, afraid that the militia, which they attribute to me, would recruit the veterans. Damn right we would. I'd like to see veterans not be homeless. I'd like to see veterans get good care. I'd like to see veterans working together the way they were trained to be. And they, in my film True Face of FEMA, even had somebody stand up talking to Brinker saying, well, I was special forces, and you sent us into the jungle, into villages to train the people on how to take care of themselves, how to defend themselves. Why not send us out across America? Oh, no, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah, yes, they would.
Are the police? Look what happened! Look what happened in Boston. I mean, you roll out the SWAT teams to find a teenager that because a teenager had a backpack, it wasn't the right backpack, but wasn't the backpack that showed up in the being blown up. But you did have jackbooted thugs in the street, and they were police, and they were bringing people out of their homes and marching them down and searching their homes, looking for one teenager. I mean,
Mhm.
was that a preview of what we're talking about?
Well, let me give you a preview of what we're talking about. In Venezuela, what they've done is they've taken the police and the military in civilian uniforms and sent them out in the street against the rioters. They haven't put the military against them; they put the civilians against them, who actually are the military. So, taking your lessons off of that little war plan, you can see what is feasible and what can be done um, in control tactics.
Now, I haven't heard too much about Venezuela since Chavez died. Now they did say, I believe one of our politicians who tried to warn people said we were going to go after Iraq, we were going to go after Libya, and we were going to go after Venezuela. So that's what's happening now. Are they going after Venezuela? They're trying to destabilize that the same way they're trying to do Syria and the Ukraine now.
Yep, Venezuela is one of our hot points right now. Well, they control the third largest reserve in the world of oil, and they supply into the United States a lot of oil. So naturally, we have that petroleum interest in place. Plus, if they have that much, we want it. The powers to be want control of that oil. And what happened was when Chavez came in, he nationalized the oil and took it over back into the country. Look, whenever I would drive over to my business in Venezuela, I would only pay 25 cents. I could fill my car up. I drove a station wagon down there, a Saturn. It's like Saturn Mercury Sable station wagon, and I could fill that 20-something gallon tank up for $5. It was great.
25 cents a gallon is what Chavez was charging, wasn't it?
Probably a little less, yeah. But he recently died, and his understudy took over, and that gave, whenever one powerful leader leaves and another one comes in, that gives our terrorist people a shoe in, and so it's all hell is broken loose in Venezuela. There are riots in the streets. Kids are getting killed. The students are out there. We use students. That's what we do. We use students and we use music to get them up. We call music as a second language is one of the studies that I read from anti-terrorism training. How music can be used to actually influence the thinking processes of the young and old. And so we get these great songs going, these great rebellion songs, and it gets them all churned up and wanting to do something. And we get these speakers out there in public forums talking about it, and they react. And that's what's happened in Venezuela. They've reacted. They're in the streets. They're burning tires in the streets. They're getting shot by these civilian patrols. They all know that their government, that proving their government's another thing. So that pretty well keeps them out of keeps the government out of the eyes of the United Nations.
And if a leader of a country like Gaddafi is actually doing something for the people, or Chavez too, uh, suddenly they get fast-acting cancer or get a knife stuck up their ass.
Yeah, fast-acting cancer is pretty easy to get. You know, you can drink something with a little bit of radioactive material in it, and it'll do them within a couple of years.
The hard to defend against that, isn't it?
You never know it's there. You know, very hard to defend against. Just like back in the old days, you know, drinking antifreeze before they put the coloring in it. You know, it was hard to defend. A little bit of antifreeze in someone's drink builds up in the body, and before you know it, they're dying. So lots of old ways to do things and new ways. We had two different compounds. We could give the first compound to a whole group of people, or just to one person, and the second compound to a whole group of people. And as long as the target got both compounds, he'd end up dying of a heart attack, and it wouldn't show up as anything abnormal because they were compounds naturally found in the body. But so it was easy to cause someone to have a heart attack using these two compounds that make it look naturally occurring in the body.
Now, I've said, you know, they're pretty upfront about it. I mean, they put up the Georgia Guidestone, said they wanted to eliminate, you know, reduce the world's population to a manageable 500 million. But what about chemtrails? I did my first video on chemtrails 20 years ago. And the aluminum and the barium that are being sprayed on our plants and our water on us, what is that doing to us? Where is that coming from? I've actually tracked down where they load the planes. At least one spot just north of Tucson, Evergreen Air. You know, you can if you Google it, if you do Google Earth, you can see the planes with the Evergreen Air on the top. From the bottom, you can't see what they are.
Evergreen Air is an old CIA proprietary company, just so you know.
Yeah. That's why they wouldn't let me go on the base. I wanted to go on the base and they wouldn't let me. But
you know, I don't know about the chemtrails. As a pilot, those chemtrails are usually, you know, coming out of the exhaust of the aircraft and forming with the moisture and the temperature causing those. My personal feelings is it would have had to been in the fuel, or they must have injectors that inject onto the exhaust coming out for these materials. I know that they have aircraft that they call seeding aircraft, where they feel that they're seeding the atmosphere with chemicals to try and control climate. They test that. Seen some missions, flown some missions with that, but the actual chemtrails, Clay, I can't say.
What about the atmospheric heaters? They're like HARP. I mean, are they able to control the weather now? Are they able to steer storms, or are they able to create earthquakes?
Well, we did a test years ago, and we were going to bounce off of a satellite and see if we could hit our target. Well, we missed the target in Pueblo, and it went into. We actually hit the same state though. We hit Colorado. Back in the mountains, there was a forest that all the trees, hundreds of acres of trees. You know, these are the huge evergreens in the Colorado Rockies, all laying down facing the same direction. Now, I had to laugh because it was stated that it must have been a bad storm that laid these trees down. It wouldn't have laid them all down in the same direction. So we have weapons, we have entities that can control certain things, and if we can't control it, we can make it look like it controls it by controlling the media and what's reported. We can go into the middle of a huge storm, fire off one of these weapons, and take out a city block, and then just think it was a tornado that hit it.
What about 9/11? What happened there? I mean, we got. I believe it was controlled demolition, but was that nukes? Was that thermite, or do they have something else, a different type of weapon?
Clay, I was sitting in Costa Rica at the time, and the Minister of Intelligence in Costa Rica, a good friend, a business partner of mine, called me and said, "Chip, turn on the TV." So I turned it on and watched what was going on, and then watched the replays and the replays and replays. I honestly, I can't tell you. I have no idea. Wasn't here, wasn't in the government, don't have privy to that. I know there's a lot of false flag people out there that saying, some are saying it was a holograph, some are saying it was planted munitions, some are saying it was a tactical nuke. It wasn't a tactical nuke. I've been around those, and that's just not the way those work. It would have taken out more than that area. You know, our tactical nukes are, you know, if it was above ground, you'd have the cloud. We blew those off and have Chitka testing them, and we'd always have the cloud. Now you wouldn't have the cloud below the ground. If you were down underneath, but you'd have to have several tons of concrete sitting on top of it not to have that cloud.
Well, those buildings did have a few tons of concrete on top of them.
No, I mean few tons. It would have to be buried underground, not just in the building itself, not between floors. That wouldn't have happened.
Let me switch.
So I rule out tactical nuke, just so you folks know. Other demolitions I don't rule out, and I just don't know, because it's something that happened so long ago. What are we going to do about it anyhow? The way I see it is we have to look at the future, not the past. The past is the past, and we allowed what the government did after that, and it's our problem today. So
I referred to it as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning, since Larry Silverstein did make a few billion off insuring it condemned buildings to the hilt, but maybe that's the reason they tried to come after me.
That could be, and he made billions off of that.
Yes, sir, he sure did. Now,
yes.
Let me take a left turn here, or a right turn. I was fairly comfortable with being a right-wing extremist under Clinton, but then Bush got in, and I don't know, maybe I became a liberal overnight. But what about the UFOs? Now, Keith supposedly built one, and I had an uncle that was a Marine colonel. I'm sorry, a father-in-law. He was Colonel Lloyd Conrad. He was and he told me that he was the one that escorted the surviving alien from Roswell to Truman's office. Bill Cooper just did something on the Majestic 12 and the UFOs. And I've said I think the reason the UFOs are so top secret is that they don't want people to know that we could have lunch on the moon and be back in time for dinner without using any gasoline. You got any opinions on that? Are the UFOs? Are the aliens among us? What's happening?
I think I was married to an alien. I'm not sure. Listen, I can say in 1981, I was on a task force that went to Brentwaters in January to investigate a particular UFO sighting, and it was inconclusive as to what we found. pretty amazing what we found there, and I don't think it was concocted, but because you're there after the fact, it's difficult to say.
What did you find?
I have over 30,000 flight hours, Clay, and I've seen some stuff, and we've flown high altitude. I've seen some stuff that I certainly can't explain, and pilots, friends of mine, have seen some things that they can't explain. But talking face to face to an alien, nope, haven't done it. In the 70s, I was recovering from gunshot wounds, and I was at Wiesbaden Hospital in Germany. On a big, I was able to get day passes so I could basically leave the hospital and get out a little bit, get around. And I used to go to the park and just relax in one of the big parks in Wiesbaden. And in the park, there's this huge chess set with about a meter high chess pieces, and the old Germans would sit around there and play, the old men. And I got to talking to these old guys, and these were colonels, SS colonels, and from World War II. And they would talk about, we got talking about things, and they told me once that I asked them about the space program that they had, and they looked at each other and they smiled and they said, we have saucers in the North Country. And this is during World War II. We had saucers in the North Country. And I never really understood what that meant. And then back here, I had a friend explain that to me, that the saucers in the North Country was the Nazis either built or had given to them flying saucers, and they were in the North Country getting ready to be used in the war, but they'd never gotten around to being able to effectively use them. So that was the saucers in the North Country. That's the only thing I can tell you about UFOs. The information that I have on the Brentwaters is still classified. If I talk about what we found, I can go to prison for 25 years, and frankly, it's not worth it.
What was that, Brentwater?
Brentwaters.
Okay. Yeah, I asked my father-in-law, I said, you want to be on my radio show? Talk about that little alien Eve that you transported. He said, no, I want to live.
Yep.
It's, what are your plans? What are you going to do? I mean, you're going back to Venezuela? You're going back down there?
I'm here getting I was blessed with a son in 2012. That's what brought me back to the United States. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come back. And I'm going through the process of getting his documents and his paperwork done for his citizenship, and then so that he has a right to come here. Look, I'm 63 years old. I'm not going to be around forever, but I want to have everything in line for him. I knew that when I came back to the United States, because I had walked away while I was on probation, I had to spend some time in jail. So they sent me to prison for 11 months. I just got out a year ago, April, and I've been working on those documents for him. They've screwed me around in the embassy and in the State Department playing games. But I think within another year it'll be done. And as soon as that's done, I'm going back to South America to live.
Well, I understand the Bushes have a little compound down there, and where's that, Uruguay?
Not only the Bushes, the Clintons, all of them do. In both Uruguay and Paraguay. They like those guays.
So did Hitler, didn't he? So did the Nazis?
I think that they were over in, we did some work over in Argentina and Chile. I think that they were more in those areas than the Paraguay and Uruguay. We transported a lot of old gold monies out of those areas during all eyes were on Iraq, on our invasion. Black Ops was down there transporting stuff out, keeping the media out.
What do you, we've got about 10 minutes left. And again, folks, I want to tell you, I'm giving away issues of the Free American. You can get the first 11 issues of the Free American by going to freeamerican.com and just clicking on the covers. Just clicking on the covers. And then if you like what you read and you want to support me, then you can make a donation. There's donation buttons up. I've also got the information on the hemp opportunity, the cannabinoids that are legal in 50 states. 50 states. It's a business opportunity, if you will. I've also got links up for the solar-based cell phones. A little bit better than supporting Verizon. And oh yeah, they got the tracking device in here. So here I am, guys. Here I am. You can find me. The cell phone numbers up on my website. By the way, and all of my phone numbers are up on my website, so you can contact me if you want to work with me, if you got some ideas. I had one gentleman, this was kind of a strange thing. I'd like to get your input on this. I had one guy by the name of Noah West, and he had an idea for a super home. It's made out of concrete, totally self-sufficient, powered by solar on the roof, garden on the roof under the solar panels, cistern in the bottom, so I guess if you're not in Colorado, you can save your rainwater. And I put him on the cover of my magazine and did a story on him and to promote. No charge, just a story, just a story. Had 400 acres that he was going to be getting in Florida. That he wanted to build these little global villages. I said, I'm not sure that global is a good term to use. And after I got the magazine out and put him up on my website, I called him and he didn't answer. And so I sent him a text message. And he said, Clay, you have followers. I can't talk to you anymore. You can't call me anymore. What do you want me to do? You want me to take off all the information I've got, all the links to your website I've got on my site? Well, yes. And I responded, no, I won't do that. But I will put up a notice that I no longer support you. And I will thank God that I didn't get involved in business with a coward. So, and to this day, since you don't talk to me, I got no idea who my followers are. They're just too powerful, Clay. They're just too powerful. Got no idea what he was talking about. Got no idea who it was. But, I thought it was a good idea. But do people, are they so against us being self-sufficient, so against us being independent, that they would go and threaten him, or maybe they just didn't want me to get any source of income? I really don't have any clue.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I lost my connection, Clay. I just got back in.
Okay, well, I was just talking about this Larry West building these homes that were supposedly, hurricane-proof, tornado-proof, that and they were totally self-sufficient. Cisterns in the basement, collection facilities on the roof, gardens on the roof, and he quit talking to me. He quit talking to me. Why? Why? Oh, they're just too powerful, Clay. What the hell are you talking about? Thank God I didn't get in business with a coward. What's going on? Just again, I thought it was a good idea, similar to what I proposed with the whole idea of putting teepees up in cheap structures, putting solar around the top of the teepee, and powering your lights and computer and everything with a little small inverter. And but his plans were a little bit more grandiose. he wanted to get the Federal Reserve to finance it. I said, I don't think that's going to happen. And he wanted to get $400,000 for a home. And I said, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anybody can afford it. You know, a little different to, move into a $5,000 teepee with a $500 solar generator on it. But then, of course, he wouldn't talk to me again. So I still have no idea what happened to him. I'm just curious as to whether or not is government putting pressure on somebody to keep them from doing it, or they just don't want me making any money. What's
could be a little bit of both. Who knows?
Could be.
Or it could be he found his honeypot and is keeping it private.
Yeah, that could be too. Well, I might have taken too big a cut, man. Could be. Could be. Uh, what are you doing here? For the time you got left until you get all your business taken care of, how are you staying busy? What are you doing?
Well, I own my electronics companies, and we're running those, and they're pretty busy. I'm just getting ready to sell off the cellular phone and tablet side, and going to concentrate on the electronic cigarette side of business. But in the meantime, I have chiptatum.com, folks. You can visit me at chiptatum.com. There I have the Tatum Chronicles and Operation Red Rock, 2 books free for download. You don't have to pay anything. All you have to pay for is your internet connection. If you have internet, you can download it and read through them. What the Tatum Chronicles they're the actual documents where we were flying drugs and who we were working for while we were in Honduras. Now, this is years ago, I understand that. But you have to understand that many, many people today were involved in that, and they're in high levels. Look at Oliver North. I mean, he was nothing more than a glorified drug runner. He made a lot of money off of those drugs. He didn't have 25 cents to put in a Coke machine in the Pentagon back in the old days, and now he's a multimillionaire. So, and Murdoch and the rest of them have put him on as a commentator and specialist on Fox News. I have to laugh at that. Here's a man that now during the Vietnam War he was a hero, but when he lost that somehow, he got soft, because when we were in a Contra camp, all the blood and all the missing limbs and so forth on the people there from the mines and the machete attacks, he passed out on us. blood and guts north, folks.
I got to
have no respect for the man, but I encourage you to download the Tatum Chronicles and enjoy those. They are actual federal documents. They're federal flight plans. I'm not the only one that wrote on them. There were notes on those flight plans by all the crew members. We don't fly alone. We have crew members. They can attest to everything that we saw. So, but were we ever called to testify? Not one of us.
I have links to your site up on my site. I'll keep them there if you aren't afraid.
I have no fear, Clay.
I got to meet Barry Shield. He stopped by in Dallas and turned me on to some of the best Oaxacan pot that I've ever seen. I just didn't know at the time that he had a plane load of cocaine sitting over at Love Field. And of course, he was taken out. What did you get to meet him? Have you had contact with him?
Oh yeah, knew him well. Several meetings down in Honduras. He was the topic of many conversations of Bush and Clinton both, wondering where all their money was going to. It was decided that it was taken out by Barry and Noriega were raking a little too much of the proceeds, so they ended up both being taken out. Now, I'll tell you now that the comment made was that on board one of my aircraft that we recorded was the fact that they wanted to take seal out and the statement was made, "I'll have Jeb take care of that."
Okay. Yeah, I believe Terry Reid had a video of, I guess he was flying with Barry, and when Barry delivered a couple of kilos of cocaine to Jeb and George Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did
Yeah,
you
yeah. Well, they were party boys. Even Dad was a party boy. So.
did you get to did you meet Michael Harari, and is he head of the Mossad now? He bragged about having blown up the Twin Towers. So my information goes. Did you get to meet Harari?
Several times, yes. Flew him in an aircraft. Also pulled him out of Panama.
He was Noriega's handler, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Is he head of the Mossad now? Did he get
He was
promoted?
he was actually in prison in Panama. Noriega imprisoned him. I can't say. I don't know who the head of the Mossad is. At one point, I heard that he owned a chain of restaurants, but those are covers too. All of us own certain things to cover what we're really doing. So I don't know.
All right. Chip Tatum, thank you for being on with me. It's always a pleasure. I don't know if we made any great strides into educating people or coming up with answers, but it's fun. You know, I've said we're in a war here, we're in a battle here, and I guess the trick is just to learn to enjoy the battle, huh?
That's it. Get people are so complacent they may as well get their beach chair, get their beer, sit on the side, and watch the battle go on.
And yeah, well, folks, if you like the show, send money. The donate button is up there, and I don't know if you got a donate button on your side, Chip, but certainly hope your cell phones go well. Love to see anything that you got. You know, if you before you sell that company, send me a tablet. I could use one of those.
You got it.
And folks, check out the Canaway. I've already got a lot of people that have already signed up for that, and it's interesting. I don't need it much because I'm pretty healthy for an old fart, and you know why. There, so all
Yeah.
right, Chip.
Well, Clay, thank you. And by the way, those secure, we now have secure smartphones, and from chiptatum.com, you can link across to secure smartphones and tablets, and certainly see what we have to offer. We keep them secure for a reason.
Well, that'd be cool. I'd like to see that. I could certainly. Yeah, I'd certainly like to have that since my internet gets fucked with almost every day when I do the show. Hey, it was all fairly nice of them. They kind of left us alone today. I appreciate it. Or to
Well,
have you on.
we can't get security on the 4G, but we can keep secure in the 3G zones. So.
All right. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye bye.